Hey everybody, this is Shantae Blispar. You know who this is. If you don't, I am a life coach. I help women glow up and get on their purpose path and reconnect and build a better relationship with God. And through Glow Up Sis Coaching, you can find that on my coaching website, which is www.omnia.co. I will place it up here. Let me just check.
Every day isn't going to be easy.
Let me check
You're
and
gonna
see if
cry
my levels
sometimes. You're gonna laugh sometimes.
okay.
Sometimes you're gonna feel like giving up. But let me tell you something. Let me let you in on a secret. That pain you're feeling,
Okay, I'm
what you're
wondering,
going through, is your challenge to rise to your
are my
highest
levels
self.
okay?
It's strength training for a soldier strong. You want the victory? You gotta keep going. Keep going, fly
Okay.
girl. Keep going,
Keep
fly
going, fly
girl.
girl.
Keep going,
Keep
fly
going, fly
girl.
girl. It's a little off, but it sounds like my levels are okay. I'm just trying to make sure everything is okay now. Turn my mic up a little bit. Okay, we good. So, how is everybody doing this weekend? I hope everybody is good. Hi to everybody who is watching right now. I really do appreciate it. To those who watch on the replay, thank you so much. I've already prayed before I stepped on here because I'm coming. This been on my mind for the past couple of days, and I was gonna give it the other day, but then it was just like I talked about some other things, and I got to do what I'm supposed to do. But before we do that, let me pray. Dear God, I want to thank you for bringing us all together and bringing us through this week. Dear God, I ask that you continue to lift us up, dear God. Dear God, we ask that you go into the homes of the people that are hurting, dear Father God, those who have lost hope, dear God. We ask that you pour your spirit upon them and bring them hope, dear Father God, for those that are longing for families who have been a part of the foster care system, dear Father God, and they're looking for a family and looking for love, dear God. We ask that you pour your spirit on them, dear God. We ask that you go to the homeless, dear Father God, those who are living on the streets and who are dealing with mental health issues, dear God. We ask that you go to them and give them what they need, dear God. I ask that you bless everybody watching this, Father. Open their minds and their ears to receiving the message, and I ask that you use me to speak to your people. In the name of Yeshua HaMashiach, the one true living God, Jesus Christ. Amen. For Love, the album, next week. Next week. It's finished. I'm just doing some last little touches to it. I don't have to do this. You know what I'm doing, but I think I have to. You know, um, I was gonna do a track by track where I'm explaining each poem, but it's just like, wait a minute, there's like I think all total it might be 36 or 37 poems. It's 35 in the book, and then I added more to it. And here, check this out. I have a lot of other poems. And not just poems. I have so many songs that I wrote. I mean, it's insane. It's crazy. So I'm gonna be doing a new thing, really soon where I'm offering, services, and I'm going to launch this really soon. Um, but if you are looking for someone to help you to write an engagement poem or a song to use to engage to your whoever you want to marry, birthday, if you want a birthday song, a birthday poem, a wedding anniversary, if you need help writing your wedding vows, you want to say it through some poetry, Miss Bliss is right here for you. We can talk about it. And, I'll give you a nice little packaging and everything. Let's talk about this. I'm not launching that until sometime in September. Everything in order. I'm not launching that until September, but if you need it now, I got you. Birthdays, I got you. You know, so, right? What has really been on my mind, what God is like placing in me, is David. And I studied David, through the Hillsdale Hillsdale Bible study. And so that's the foundation for this. But it's also what God revealed to me. And I don't know why God is like on me with, husbands, wives, and really wives, not so much as husbands. Um, I don't know, I don't know what God is doing, not too long ago, I was in the bathroom, and I'm very, very finicky when it comes to my bathroom. My bathroom has to be clean. Um, and there was something yellow that was on the back, you know, uh, when you put the toilet lid down, that it was, and then you have the commode thing, where you flush. There was something yellow in it, and I'm like, there's no men that live here, so I'm like, what the heck is that? It was just a piece of lint, though, And God say, "Are you ready for this? You ready?" And it's like, what you mean, God? What do you mean? And this is, I had to really start thinking about it because God has been preparing me. I don't know what God is preparing me for. I'm not rushing God. Do what you do. I asked God to order my steps and boom. But first, I had to be broken away. We have to be broken away, from the world and how the world has, conditioned us to think, you know, we don't want to be wives anymore. We don't even know what a wife is, right? So reading, David, really getting into it, I began to see what David's downfall was. He didn't listen to his wife. Now, what I learned from Hillsdale is that it's the only time in the Bible where it says a woman loves a man. And this is, let's add this to the stage. Let's go to this. It says, when Saul realized that the Lord was with David and that his daughter Michal loved David, Saul became still more afraid of him, and he remained his enemy the rest of his days. Now, what do we know about this whole David and Saul thing? David is, he's the stronger one. He's got God all over him. God has really called David. Now, number one, God called Saul, but Saul wanted to be disobedient. You know, he didn't want to follow the orders of the Lord. He was, seeking mediums and and stuff like that, and just doing what he felt that he wanted to do. So God, said, "Hey, you got this, you got it. Now I'm gonna put somebody else in your spot since you got it." Here come David. And what we see is that David, saw as a political move, saw uh, um, gave Michal to David, right? I like to call her Michal. Okay, Michal. You know, I don't think her name is Michael. It might be, who knows? But that ain't what it looked like to me. So we're gonna say Michal. All right. So David said, I just can't take, I who am I? And so Saul said, well, Bring me 100 foreskins of, these, if I'm not mistaken, was the Philistines, right? Don't quote me on that. And so he did what he had to do, to accept Michal as his wife. It's the only time in the Bible that it says a woman loved a man. And so I'm going to show you how much she loved him. Okay. So I'm going to show you how much. I have to actually get to the other one because I have to back everything up with scripture. I don't know about anybody else, but I do. It says, but an evil spirit from the Lord came on Saul as he was sitting in his house with his spear in his hand. He was paranoid while David was playing the lyre. Saul tried to pin him to the wall with his spear, but David eluded him as Saul in the spear, drove the spear into the wall. And that night, David made his escape. Saul sent men to David's house to watch it and to kill him in the morning. But Michal, David's wife, warned him, if you don't run for your life tonight, tomorrow you'll be killed. So Michal let David down through a window. Through a window. Keep that in mind. Through a window. Michal let David down through a window and he fled and he escaped. Then Michal took an idol and laid it in the bed, covering it with a garment and putting some goat's hair at the head. Now, she loved him. And if that's not proof that she loved him, I don't know what else can be proof. A woman is not going to go against her father. She's supposed to for her husband, though, But her husband was the king. Her husband was the king. I mean, her father was the king. He got clout, he got power, he got people at his command. But she loved him. She loved him enough to help him escape from this window. Keep that in mind. She helped him to escape from a window. See, the thing that I learned about David is that, and I also learned this from Hillsdale. Like I said, it built. I'm building on the foundation from what I learned from there. But what I find about David and Michal is that it's the first time we are introduced to a leader, right? To actually what a leader is, the shepherd, the leader, right? But it's also a wife and the lengths that a wife will go to when she loves her husband. When I was in a play called Throwaway Diaries and I had the lead role, and I had the lead role as the mother and the wife of, I can't remember the characters. I'm sorry. I remember the lead, Naomi. And Miss Jackie Warren Moore, we're talking, we're running lines and everything. And, we just started talking, just started talking. And so I was like, okay, I get it. The woman, the man is the head of the household. Okay, I get it. I get it. And she's like, yes, but the woman is the neck that turns the head. She gives her husband direction and he should follow. Now, here's the problem with David. Now, Michal, his wife, provided for him a way out, right? Out of this window, right? Let's see where he made his mistake, right? He's not listening to his wife because now, let's fast forward a little bit. You know, um, his father-in-law is trying to kill him and he's not successful. And, he ends up, succumbing. And, now David is king. David done got the ark back, while David was on the run. He Saul actually gave Michal into marriage with someone else. So, but David won his wife back. He killed 100 men. That's my wife. Ho, go get my wife. You know, and she's a wife. So now David is happy. He's celebrating. He feeling himself. He feeling himself. He dancing, they got the ark of the Lord back, right? He dancing, he feeling himself, he done, dance so hard, he done dance out his clothes, right? Let's go to Second Samuel. Let's go to Second Samuel and no, I'm sorry, that is not Second Samuel. That's still, but let's go to Second Samuel. Second Samuel 6. Let's read this. Now, King David was told the Lord has blessed the household of Obed-Edom and everything he has because the ark of God. So David went to bring up the ark of God from the house of Obed-Edom to the city of David with rejoicing. When those who were carrying the ark of the Lord had taken 6 steps, he sacrificed a bull and a fattened calf. Wearing a linen ephod, David was dancing before the Lord with all his might. While he and all Israel were bringing up the ark of the Lord with shouts and the sound of trumpets. As the ark of the Lord was entering the city of David, Michal, daughter of Saul, watched from a window. And when she saw King David, not her husband David, but when she saw King David, not the man she loved, David, but King David, looked leaping and dancing before the Lord, she despised him in her heart. They brought the ark of the Lord and set it in his place inside the tent that David had pitched for it. And David sacrificed burnt offering and fellowship offerings before the Lord. And he had finished sacrificing the burnt offerings and fellowship offerings. And after he had finished sacrificing the burnt offerings and fellowship offerings, he blessed the people in the name of the Lord Almighty. Then he gave a loaf of bread, a cake of dates, and a cake of raisins to each person in the whole crowd of Israelites, both men and women, and all the people. When David returned home to bless his household, Michal, daughter of Saul, came out to meet him and said, "How the king of Israel has distinguished himself today, going around half naked in full view of the slave girls of his servants, as any vulgar fellow would." Remember this part right here. How the king of Israel has distinguished himself today, going around half naked in full view of the slave girls of his servants, as any vulgar fellow would. David said to Michal, "It was before the Lord who chose me rather than your father or anyone from his household when he appointed me ruler over the Lord's people Israel. I will celebrate before the Lord. I will become even more undignified than this, and I will be humiliated in my own eyes. But by these slave girls you spoke of, I will be held in honor. And Michal, daughter of Saul, had no children to the day of her death. That means he didn't lay with her again, right? That means he didn't lay with her again. But understand this, right? She looking up out of a window down at him. Remember, she's the one who helped him escape out of a window, right? Understand this. Look at this. This is the downfall of Saul of David. David was feeling himself. Okay, he was now King David, not the humble servant of the Lord David. He was King David. He was feeling himself, had dancing half naked in front of the girls. It's not that she despised him because she hated him. She didn't approve of what he was doing because she knew it was going to ruin him. And remember, the wife is the neck that turns the head, and he is no longer taking her direction. But he was okay to take her direction when her father was trying to eliminate him. She was all right. He was all right then, right? But now, what he did was threw in her face. Oh, you just jealous. Yeah, she probably is jealous that her husband dancing in front of these women half naked. But now he accused her of being jealous because it wasn't her father in the house or anybody in her from her father's bloodline. The woman who helped him escape her father. Now, does that make any sense? Now, here comes the downfall of David. Because remember, she's looking down at him. She's seeing his downfall. She's seeing his downfall. She's being a wife to him. She's giving him direction. She's trying to save him once again. She's trying to save her husband from destruction. And he got mad at her. When you love somebody enough, you correct them in their wrongness. She loved David. And what happens next? David was feeling himself a little bit too much. Now he's King David. What did he do? What did he do? Because when she's looking down at him, he's dancing half naked in front of his slave girls. She's seeing his downfall. She's trying to warn him. She's trying to save her husband because she loves him. And what happens? He decides he don't want nothing to do with her no more. He won't let her go. He don't want nothing to do with her no more. He won't lay with her. He won't give her children. That was her punishment, right? Listen, look what happened. He's looking at another man's wife, lusting after another man's wife. Ain't this in the 10 Commandments? Let's go to the 10 Commandments. Ain't this in the 10 Commandments? Isn't this in the 10 Commandments? Doesn't it say? Wait, hold up. I'm sorry. Wait. I'm sorry. I wasn't prepared for this. Doesn't it say, you shall not covet another man's wife? Isn't that in the commandments? Isn't it in the commandments that thou shalt not murder? See, the thing about David, because I asked God, and I'm like, God, well, David was a murderer. David had blood on his hands, and you still loved him. Here's the thing. Here's the difference between when he uh, uh, had Uriah. Is that his name? Your, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Uriah. I be forgetting names. These names in the y'all already know these names in the Bible. They be like, you be like, what? Let me. I gotta do my Bible app, but y'all already know. David felt that he didn't have to listen to his wife anymore. It wasn't enough to look to her anymore. He was King Saul. He didn't need her no more. What do he need her for? What do he need? He the king. He the king. He was feeling himself a little bit too much. So much that he couldn't see that his wife, who loved him, who helped him escape, his wife who helped him escape. So this is it's Uriah. So he's looking and lusting. Ain't that another commandment? Adultery, murder, covenant. And he goes and get Bathsheba. Now, here's the thing. I'm going to ask you a question. Do you think Bathsheba just willingly said, oh, here, you can have it, or because he was the king, he just felt that he could have it? What do you think? Do you think she just did it willingly? I don't know. I can't say. But she was married. Don't they stone you for stuff like that? Didn't they stone you for stuff like that? Yes. And so what ended up happening? Bathsheba got pregnant, right? And so to cover up his mistake, his sin, he had Uriah killed. He had him killed. The thing about David, he sent the letter with Uriah to Joab. And y'all know Joab was just off the chain. Okay? He wasn't right in the head. Okay? He wasn't right. He needed some mental help for real. He sent this man's death note orders with him. And then Nathaniel rebuked him. He told him, he went to David and said, David, this shepherd, because David is a shepherd. He was a shepherd. Somebody, stole the shepherd. Wait a minute. Let me go to it because I don't want to get this wrong. So I'm actually coming right now. Okay. Now, this is let me just go to it. This is 2 Samuel 12. So we're going to go to 2 Samuel 12. We're going to go to 2 Samuel 12. And let's read this. And this from the NIV. I'm actually reading from the SI. Let me just go ahead. Okay. So Nathaniel rebukes David. The Lord sent Nathan. I'm sorry, not Nathaniel. Nathan. Nathan rebukes David. The Lord sent Nathan to David. When he came to him, he said, there were two men in a certain town, one rich and the other poor. The rich man had a very large number of sheep and cattle, but the poor man had nothing except one little ewe lamb he had bought. He raised it, and it grew up with him and his children. It shared his food, drank from his cup, and even slept in his arms. It was like a daughter to him. Now a traveler came to the rich man, but the rich man refrained from taking one of his own sheep or cattle to prepare a meal for the traveler who had come to him. Instead, he took the ewe lamb that belonged to the poor man and prepared it for the one who had come to him. David burned with anger against the man and said to Nathan, as surely as the Lord lives, the man who did this must die. He must pay for that lamb 4 times over because he did such a thing and had no pity. Then Nathan said to David, you are the man. This is what the Lord this is what the Lord, the God of Israel, says. I anointed you king over Israel, and I delivered you from the hand of Saul. I gave you the masters. I gave your master's house to you and your master's wives into your arms. I gave you all Israel and Judah. And if all this had been too little, I would have given you even more. Why did you despise the word of the Lord by doing what is evil in his eyes? You struck down Uriah the Hittite with the sword and took his wife to be your own. You killed him with the sword of the Ammonites. Now, therefore, the sword will never depart from your house because you despised me and took the wife of Uriah the Hittite to be your own. This is what the Lord says, out of your own household, I am going to bring calamity on you. Before your very eyes, I will take your wives and give them to one who is close to you, and he will sleep with your wives in broad daylight. You did it in secret, but I will do this thing in broad daylight before all of Israel. Then David said to Nathan, I have sinned against the Lord. Nathan replied, the Lord has taken away your sin. You are not going to die, but because by doing this, you have shown utter contempt for the Lord, the son born to you will die. Now, all of this could have been avoided, though, right? All of it could have been avoided if David listened to his wife, the one who had his back, his ride or die. All of it could have been avoided. He was feeling himself a little bit too much. She was looking down on him. And she saw what was going to happen. She saw his downfall. He was no longer her husband. He was King David. And they were separated. She was on a higher level than him. He sank to a low level. Do you get it? That's what the Lord gave me. We don't understand the lengths that a wife will go through, or will go to her husband who is in need. We don't get that. I'm still learning this because we don't know what it is to be a wife. We don't know what it means. The world done told us, we should be around here dressed half naked and doing what we want to do and pro-choice and all of that stuff. Free love. Walk around with your booty cheeks out. Just emasculate your man. You don't need a man. I heard somebody say that the other day. I was in Walmart, and she had got something from she was getting something from some water or something like that. And I guess it was like heavy or something. I don't know. She said, I don't need a man. She was like, see, look, I don't need a man. I do. I do. I mean, I remember, because I grew up in the house with my grandparents. So I grew up, my grandfather, taking care of home. He'd get up and and we don't appreciate men. And I can't speak for a man appreciating a woman. But I know one thing that my grandfather taught me. My grandfather never told me what to do. I remember I was dating this. I was so embarrassed for him. He was just really, really light skinned. He was really, really light skinned. He was really light. And my grandfather come from the Jim Crow South. He only want the best for me. From the things that, he witnessed when it came to, interracial dating and stuff. They was lynching men, and they were taking advantage of, a black woman, which is, um, uh, some people think that the word honky and cracker that they're bad words. No, they're not. I mean, I'm not trying to be funny or nothing. No, they're not. I'm pretty sure they're not going to be offended, if you say honky or cracker. First of all, this is where the word honky comes from. They had brothels, and they had, they would, there was these white men, they would go to black brothels, and they didn't want to get out the car, so they would honk the horns. That's where the name came from. Where the name cracker came from. Let me explain to you how it's not a derogatory word. Go to Cracker Barrel. It's not, because a cracker is white, or that you eat. No, mm, that's not where it came from. It's not. It had to do with punishment. That's where it came from. I read a lot, but I also took black African American history courses too. So, and my African American history teacher didn't play. You were not going to ask stupid questions in her class. I remember one day I'm like, well, why did they do that? And she said, is that a rhetorical question, or are you serious? I was embarrassed because I was trying to, I was crushing on the dude in front of me, and, I was just trying to, I was feeling myself a little bit too much. But, anyways, right? My grandfather, he never told me what to do and what not to do. But, he saw this dude, coming up to the house, to pick me up, he gets out the car. He's a gentleman. He's, a really nice, he was a really nice dude. He really, really was. And, my grandfather looks at him, you know, because of where he came from and what he experienced, and how, when he was young, he witnessed, a black woman could be assaulted and nothing happened to her. She couldn't even tell, when she was assaulted by a white man. She could not tell. She couldn't go to the authorities. And it's still like that today. Just you remember homegirl with the Duke University lacrosse players. Nothing changed. But back then, they said, my grandfather, they said, they used to say, you're not a man until you've been with a black woman. So my grandfather did not want me to date this dude. My grandfather's looking at him like, and he's calling me, he don't speak to my grandfather was not racist at all, okay? But he's like, this dude up out here. I ain't gonna say what he said. So then after that, he started, talking to me about relationships and stuff. He told me the whole story, not stories, but he let me know what he went through, because he never told me what to do and what not to do. But there was one time that he did. And he said, you know, I don't remember exactly how it started off, but he was like, you probably won't find a man like me to do for you what you saw me doing for your grandmother. My grandfather would be sick. He'd go to dialysis because he was on dialysis, and he'd come home from dialysis and uh, uh, shovel and do the snow blower and or mow the lawn, and then he'd go to sleep, and then he'd get up and cook while my grandmother was at work. Because he was retired, and I can't even imagine how tired he was, but I never saw it. We never saw it, you know. And so he told me he's just like all these young little jittybugs want to do is lay up, play video games, and depend on a woman to take care of them. Said they don't make them like me no more. And I'm, "Ah, Daddy, yes they do. Yes they do. Oh my gosh, why do you say that? Why would you say that? Yes they do. Even though I knew that I wasn't looking at all my friends going through this, taking care of their boyfriends, taking them shopping. I know one of my friends is worth everything I love. She took her boyfriend, who was not her boyfriend. They didn't have a title. I don't even know if they, was intimate with each other. I'm just saying. I mean, she took the whole family shopping. I'm just saying, the whole family, the whole family. And when the money was gone, so wasn't he. I thought that was the lowest thing somebody could do, but I got a million stories like that of different females. My grandfather taught me I don't mind, buying my boyfriend something or whatever. I don't mind doing that. I'm not gonna take care of no man and he could take care of himself. If he taking care of himself and he doing what he need to do, I got you, boy. Let me take you out to dinner. Let me do this. Let's do this, and I'll pay. There's nothing wrong with that. But now it's like I haven't dated in a while. And I remember, I was on a secret little rendezvous with this dude. It was supposed to be a secret, but he told everybody. you know, but we went on a couple dates, and so I paid for one of them. It was nothing, but I don't think he was very comfortable with me paying. It is what it is. It's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. But I went on a date with this dude, and I met him at a club. Number one, no, I met him in a bar, and I just really wasn't really in the mood. But I'm like, I'm bored. I'm giving him my number, and we talked a couple times. He want to take me on a date. He wanted to take me to Chili's. I'd never been to Chili's, so I'm like, oh yeah. No. I'm sorry. He want to take me to Ruby Tuesdays. Ruby Tuesdays is nothing. Me and my homegirl used to go to Ruby Tuesdays during class and get toasted. Do you hear what I'm saying? And go back to school tipsy. Ruby Tuesdays is nothing. We go there like 2-3 times a week and eat. Then he called me. He's like, "Yo, well, you ever been to Chili's? You want to go to Chili's?" So I'm like, "Oh yeah, sure." Because I've never been to Chili's. I'm like, "Oh yeah, sure. I'd love to go to Chili's." In a couple days, he called me back. Uh, what about Applebee's? I said he's broke. I said, okay, I understand. He had a job though, so I'm like, okay, well maybe he got child support bills and stuff like that. I get it. It's cool. So I'm like, okay, Applebee's is fine. I like Applebee's. We go to Applebee's. We get to Applebee's, and this is the mistake that I made. I never let guys pick me up, but I wouldn't let him pick me up from my house. He picked me up from my uncle's house. He wanted to pick me up, and I knew I should have drove my own car. So we get there, we're sitting down to eat, and he's like, "Don't go all crazy on the menu." I got enough money to pay for what I ordered. I didn't even want nothing after that. I don't even remember if I ordered anything. It's like it was just when after he dropped me off, I cut him off and everything. But that's not the David story. I'm just saying, uh, um, now today, I look, and I'm so happy when I see people married and stuff like that. And you know, what bothers me now today is I see women running a relationship. And it's not that a woman is supposed to be quiet and just, no, she is the neck that turns the head. There's certain things that come with being a wife. Just because people are married don't make, just because a woman is married doesn't make her a wife. And just because a man is married, it doesn't make him a husband. Look, David was married. When David became king, he was no longer a husband. You understand? But his wife was still a wife. It's, I don't want to dictate to anyone how you should dress. But today, we wear our clothes like it's a badge of honor and not like it was intended to cover our shame. You have men who are okay with their women dressed in any kind of way. Like, what sense does that make? If you're more concerned about what you're wearing, if you're more concerned about what you're wearing and not about your marriage, I don't know. I don't know. What foundation is your marriage built on? And then if a man say, first of all, it's like this. I remember I was dating this dude and I had these jeans on and we was finna go to a cookout. He come to my apartment, you know, and he's like, take them jeans off. What? First of all, you're not my boyfriend. We just dating. You're not my man. You don't buy my clothes. You don't pay my rent. Nothing like that. You don't have the right and the authority to be telling me how to dress. And it wasn't like I was wearing revealing clothes. I don't do that. I was going to a cookout with my grandmother there and my father. and my elders, you know. Um, but if that was my husband and my husband said, because a man knows another man, a woman knows another woman, a man, he knows another man, he knows what another man likes, he knows what another man looks at. If my husband, not my man, not my no, if my husband say, hey, won't you put something else on, and I'll ask him, why, what's up, and we talk about it, and okay, no problem, right? It's the same with a woman. It's the same with a wife. She's supposed to. Another woman knows a woman. Another woman better not ever act like she being nice and bringing my husband a plate. What, are you kidding me? Huh, girl? Don't you? At first, he's not taking. He better act like he 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 better act like he know who he dealing with. We don't we don't just I I will fix it. You don't know what she, put in that food. She could have had some juices up in there, because people think it's just the menstrual, and it's not. It's the juices too. You can do the juices. You got to know these things. Hosea 4:6 said, "My people perish from a lack of knowledge." Okay, now I'm teaching you right now. It's also with a man. A man can use his fluids, you know, and put it in food, and then this is where you see them old poppies, okay? Them old men, right? And they be having these young girls, beautiful, you know, and you be thinking that's their daughter or something. That be their girlfriend. I ain't playing. I'm dead serious. He got her because he did something to her. It is what it is. He done cooked her some food, and pleased himself to her, and then use the fluid and put it in the food. I had this Puerto Rican dude think that he was going to do the same thing to me, but I'm already up on it, baby. I'm already up on it. He came to my door in my apartment with a plate of food, you know, talking about his special glaze. Huh? Special glaze. And I'm cheesing like, oh, thinking. I said, I know not going well. He don't think I'm gonna eat this one. And in a couple of days later, I because as soon as look, I wasn't even finna put it in my refrigerator. Okay, I told her, I said thank you. I just got done cooking. I'm gonna have to eat it later. So it went right in the trash. It is what it is. A okay. I don't know. And the next thing I know, a couple of days later, that's how he was knocking. I thought I didn't know who was knocking at my door like that. It scared me. Nobody has ever knocked on my door like that. The police don't even knock on doors like that. Okay? I was scared. I'm like, who the heck is knocking on my door like this? I look, it's him. I opened the door. I said, hey, what's I coming to get my plate? I said, uh-huh. I ain't run down there. I ain't run down there and was all falling in love and yeah, uh-huh. Sorry, not this one. Not this one. It is what it is. It be like that though. You just got to be up on it. This is why it's important to have communication with, your husband and your wife. And yes, I was married, but I'm learning these things. It's just communication is important in a relationship. Period. We don't talk anymore. Who's teaching these girls how to be wives? I don't even think some of them want to be wives. They just want to be baby mamas. Like that's a flat. Like it's weird to me because, I mean, I remember, the older I started getting, I'm like, it, it, am I living in a fantasy world for real? I want the husband. I want the husband before the kids because I can't. I'm spoiled. I like my time. I can't do it by myself. Y'all can be strong or y'all want to. I can't do it by myself. I cannot do it by myself. I don't want to do it by myself. And so, I'm like, I live, is this a fantasy world? And I struggled with that for, a couple of years. I'm like, am I living in a fantasy world thinking that, I'm supposed to get married before I have children and everything? And, I'm supposed to be stable, like, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually before I bring a child into this world. And am I supposed to just, because I struggled. I said, well, maybe, you know, maybe I'm living in this fairy tale fantasy world, where I think that, two people are supposed to be together. And so, I kind of struggle with that. And I'm like, well, maybe, I should, try to go ahead and, have some. And then it was just like, nah, because I couldn't see myself being with somebody for the rest of my life. I mean, no, 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 not like that. It's connected to, I'm, listen, it's like, you look at somebody and it's just like, uh, and, you start seeing them in a different light. And it's like, I don't like you. I don't like you. I can't see myself being connected to you. You know, um, I can't see myself being connected to you. I don't like you. I kind of hate you right now. Um, and so you got to really start think you think, I don't want to be connected to this person for the rest of my life. I mean, because it's for life. And I don't care. They 20 in their 20s, and people say, nah, because your child gonna get married. Who gonna be there? Both gonna be there. I gotta nah. I don't ever want to. But anyway, let's change the subject. No, we don't really got to change the subject. But who's teaching these female, who's teaching these girls, who's teaching my younger sisters, you know my nieces, and 'cause I don't have any children, so who's teaching them, how to be a wife, if the ones my age, you know are still in the streets trying to be their age? Who teaching them how to be a wife? Who teaching them that after, once you get to a certain age, you got to put childish things away? That's it. It is what it is. And what's childish? Your way of thinking. What your head guides your feet. This God designed us perfect. Your head guides your feet. However you think is the direction you're gonna go. So if you feel that it's okay for you to be bending down twerking, I didn't watch no award show, but I'm just saying. I seen some stuff. If you think that's okay, and they a little younger than me, but now you got the ones older. But my generation did that. My generation responsible for that. We are. We influenced this. We influenced it. You know, we ain't influenced it by bending over, shaking it like that. Nah, that ain't what we did. But it's the fruit of what we did. You know, we put ourselves before the people, before our household. I remember seeing one of my homegirls, and she always dressed beautiful. Okay, I mean dressed half naked, going out. So then her daughter, when her daughter got of age, 18, she started dressing the same way, and it's cute. It's a cute thing, and she couldn't get her daughter to change. Because it obviously the dresses got short. They was like nightgowns, yo. Like where you going in that? You can't bend over in that at all, because it's like it's a dress. You got shorts on under there or something, because ain't no way you going out in that. And your daddy is a bum for letting you go out like that, for not checking you. He should be jacking you up. For real, for real. Get it all the way together. I'm just saying. Who's teaching them? Uh, Hosea 4:6 says, "My people perish from a lack of knowledge." In Samuel, we see that Michal loved her husband enough to direct him, and he rebuked and rejected her guidance, her direction, and it led to his destruction. Yes, he was a successful king. He was a successful king. Yeah. He followed after God's heart. Yes, he was. Yes. He was the best king. He's the best. There's none like him. However, because of one action, a domino effect, him rebuking and rejecting his wife and punishing her, and not laying with her again because she couldn't lay with anyone else. She was not able to have a child. And then he go and get another man's wife pregnant, and to cover up, he eliminates it. Okay? But I didn't mean to stay on this long, and I feel better for getting it out, because I was just like, no, I'm gonna do it later. But nah, when God say do it, do it. When God say do something, you gotta do it. And I really didn't want to. I was hot. I'm like, am I having a hot flash? But let me work on, doing some things. I don't have to do this. I could just go ahead and release it right now. But it wouldn't be me if I didn't just add some, sparkle to it, or glitter, you know. And I'm all pun intended. They're my two favorite movies, for real. I like glitter. I don't care what nobody say. I liked glitter. I knew that it was a watered down version of Sparkle. I didn't care. I still liked it. It was still one of my movies, that I like. I loved it. But anyways, for love, next week, promise. Promise, 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 promise. Next week. I could release it now. I just want to add, some stuff to it. You'll see. I love you all with the love of Christ. Honor your mother and father. Love your sisters and brothers. Be kind to your neighbors. But most of all, you got to honor, love, and be kind to yourself. Peace out.